think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd?
Not another guy in the world that can beat you right now. That's Mayweather level. Head to head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd. I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late.
Bud's been the best man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the best man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fight.
Terence Crawford responded confidently to Floyd Mayweather's claim that he could beat him. Crawford stated that he would defeat Mayweather even in his prime, emphasizing that history will remember him for taking on every challenge. He made it clear that he has always fought whoever stepped up and hinted he would not shy away from a fight with Mayweather if the opportunity ever arose.
Then he started going like this. And then that's when Floyd started taking over.
What do you want your legacy to be like when your career is all said and done? What do you want people to remember you for?
Oh, man. Everybody's asking me the question. I always be like, man, it's whatever it's their opinion. Everybody gonna have a different opinion of Terence Crawford, but one thing they can't say is that I ducked anyone. I fought everyone that was available to fight.
Dan Rafael argues that Terence Crawford has already reached a point in his career where fighting again is unnecessary to cement his legacy. Rafael highlights Crawford's accomplishments, cleaning out divisions, unifying titles, and dominating elite opponents without showing signs of weakness. He stresses that once a fighter achieves this level, it's about protecting their legacy and earning the recognition they deserve. For Rafael, Crawford's current resume surpasses many expectations, and pursuing additional fights might not add significant value to his place in history. His recent dominance alone is enough to secure his status as one of boxing's greats.
What does a Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quit. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made two things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, yeah. But I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy's really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight. And, he's going to have mandatories. Obviously, that's the first thing they'll have to look at. I mean, I don't know if he's not going to necessarily keep the belts if he's forced into a mandatory. He doesn't need the belts at this point, but there might be something appealing to him. For example, and Billy had a great fight on the undercard, although he's been ordered to fight a rematch in that fight. Mm-hmm. That was, fight of the year against Lester Martinez, candidate for fight of the year.
The way Terence Crawford dismantled Canelo Alvarez has sparked intense debate within boxing circles. Fans and analysts have begun comparing this victory to Floyd Mayweather's win over Canelo. While Mayweather fought Canelo when he was younger and less seasoned, Crawford's dominance against a more experienced Canelo has led some to question if Crawford might now be the superior fighter. However, Luke Thomas reminds fans that Crawford's career blossomed much later than Floyd's. Mayweather had already established himself as a superstar early on, fighting top-tier opponents from the start. Crawford faced delays in gaining recognition, so his prime moments are arriving later. Thomas argues that although Crawford's victory is impressive, timing and career trajectory are crucial factors in historical comparisons, preventing a straightforward ranking above Floyd.
This was a masterclass. One guy with outrageous skill offensively and defensively, simply making another very good fighter look lesser than. This was the other part. The people who watch MMA and then try to watch boxing through an MMA lens, I don't know what to tell you. You're actually missing the point. The kind of specific details and the depth of the technical ability far surpasses even what you can get at the highest level of MMA because they don't have that level of skill. There is no equivalent in MMA to Bud Crawford because there cannot be. Bud is the most talented boxer I've seen since Mayweather.
I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
To be fair to Floyd, he obviously had hand problems in his whole welterweight run, and it's why he took that long stretch off in 2007, 2008, 2009 area, and Floyd's brilliance to be able to be just as great in some ways at that age. We're not here trying to dunk on Floyd. When you get a victory like this, right now, straight up, Luke, you could say that there's not a welterweight, junior middleweight, middleweight, or maybe even super middleweight. When you could say over like a 4-division stretch, Bud, cut down to any of these weights, that there's not another guy in the world that can beat you right now, that's Mayweather level. Head to head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd, I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late. I find Bud to be as defensively sound as I've ever seen a fighter. He can find you. There's nowhere to hide with him.
Like Floyd, he has such control over the terms in there. It's just insane.
Buddy McGirt was among Crawford's most vocal supporters following his victory over Canelo, describing the performance as one of complete domination. He noted that Crawford controlled the fight from the outset, never allowing Canelo to dictate pace or impose his usual aggression. McGirt emphasized that Crawford's clear victory leaves no need for a rematch, as the skill gap was evident. He also stated that Crawford has finally secured the legacy he has been chasing, beating a fighter of Canelo's stature, and that this win validates his greatness among boxing legends. For McGirt, there's nothing left to prove. Crawford has written his chapter, and his victory over Canelo stands as a testament to his place in boxing history.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is. And you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those gold cards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. I mean, he's fought everybody, he's did everything, but you know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So, if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
When comparing Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather, analysts often highlight Floyd's mental game as a crucial element that kept him a step ahead. While Crawford is technically brilliant, able to switch stances, adjust mid-fight, and dismantle opponents with ease, many believe Floyd possessed an even deeper psychological edge. Mayweather's ability to manipulate his opponents' minds, forcing mistakes and breaking their strategies, made him particularly dangerous. This mental warfare and aura of control are seen as the key differences, what elevates Floyd in the eyes of many boxing historians. The comparison underscores how close Crawford is to Floyd's level, but also how Floyd's unique mental mastery remains a defining aspect of his greatness.
Hagler, Hearns. I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Like, I've seen all of those things, and those fights were wars. Floyd Mayweather, is the best boxer I've ever seen. He's the most skilled boxer I've ever seen. Bud, and this is just my opinion, is the baddest man I've seen wear boxing gloves. And here's why I say that.
RC.
Here's why I say that. Bud is extremely skilled, right? Yet not as skilled as Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made people look foolish, right? And so if I had to say who's the greatest I've seen, and Bud said it, right? The best of an era and the best of an era, it's Floyd. But when I watched Bud against Canelo, there was this extreme skill on display, and there was a level of crazy that's different. There was a level of, and Floyd's extremely tough. Go back to Shane Mosley and the 2 punches he landed early in the fight and the way that he embarrassed him. I'm not saying that Floyd's not tough, Floyd's not a bad man, but there was domination inside that ring we saw this weekend. And there's no fear in him in the way that he's attacked, gaining notoriety. Bud's been the baddest man for 12 years. But no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the baddest man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fights and the better fights. And he was Errol Spence.
For over a decade, Terence Crawford has showcased his skills, but his low-key personality and lack of flamboyance meant he often flew under the radar. Unlike fighters who rely on loud self-promotion and theatrics, Crawford let his performances inside the ring speak for themselves. This approach earned respect from purists but limited mainstream recognition during his earlier years. It was only with high-profile fights against Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez that the broader public began to appreciate his greatness. Critics argue that this recognition has come too late, as Crawford is already deep into his career and closer to the end than the beginning. While he may still add to his achievements, the window for building a lasting mainstream legacy is shrinking, leaving some to wonder how differently his career might have been perceived had he received more attention earlier.
Puts him on par with Floyd Mayweather Jr., and you know Floyd Mayweather Jr. doesn't like that. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is one of the biggest egos in the sport, so much so that he could not find a way to give Muhammad Ali credit as being a top 5 fighter and claimed that Roberto Duran sits above Muhammad Ali, right? Why? Because Floyd wants to be better than Muhammad Ali. He completely redid his image when he became Money Mayweather to pretty much copy from calling himself the GOAT, calling himself TBE, right? Whole thing. Very disrespectful of Muhammad Ali when he was coming up, when after Floyd Mayweather Jr. wound up being at the top of the sport. So now that Terence Crawford has firmly placed himself at the top of boxing, and not just as the pound for pound fighter right now, many people are saying, hey, shouldn't he be considered one of the greatest fighters of all time? Isn't this a realistic conversation we can have? So what does that do? That butts Terence Crawford right up against Floyd Mayweather. So when Floyd was asked a series of questions, right? Because Floyd has a fight coming up. I do believe it maybe in January. I think it may be in January or early 2026, I believe is the time frame, where Floyd Mayweather Jr. is going to be fighting Mike Tyson in I believe this is going to be an exhibition.
Get close to him when you want to, not when he wants you to. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? That's how it was.
I know, I'm sorry. I know this is bad production, but we don't need you to turn that phone to the side. I know, I'm thinking about Happy right now. I'm like, you know better. That's better. Go ahead, Ant. Go ahead.
Hey, but you know how, man. Me and Sean, we know you personally. I had people telling me, nah, man, this is just a money grab. He just went up there for the money. I said, man, if you know this dude, but you mentally, bro, I put you in the same category as Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant. I'm like, he wants to be great. Y'all want the money, Bud want to be great. Where that come from, man?
It's just me, you know what I mean? Like, I think all the greats is just born with that competitiveness, you know? And like I said, you know, a lot of people, they didn't want me to accomplish the feat over Canelo. It wasn't that it wasn't possible. They didn't want me to be the one to do it because I was the one that they was blackballing for years. I was the one that they said, you know, wasn't gonna make it to this table. I was the one that they said couldn't sell. I was the one that they said, you know, made bad business decisions. So of course they don't want me to be the one to make it to the top and then conquer all odds, because now it's a slap in the face to every person that ever wrote a bad article about me, about anything.
Probably the best fit of all.
And a lot of people get mad at me because I said, when it comes from pound for pound that I ever seen it in my lifetime, ever, I got Floyd, then I got you. They're like, well, what about blah, blah, blah? I said, this is what I seen. I seen Bud, I seen Floyd. I can't talk about what happened in the 20s and the 40s. I can talk about what I seen now. Do you feel like, Bud, you stamped your legacy and we're going to forever say, well, you could have beat this person, you could beat that person? You feel like you did it?
Of course, it's definitely going to be, it's already written in the history books.
Yeah.
Like before, everybody was already comparing me and saying things like that, but hold on.
Yeah.
I know, good job.
Okay. But now, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so now he proven himself with a bigger, stronger guy in his weight division that he was undefeated in, that he was undisputed in, you know? So those things like that, you know, you can't ignore.
Hey man, how do you allow people not to put their limitations on you? Because when I gave motivation last week, I told them about like how you motivated me to start my own company. And I remember you been in my living in my kitchen, motivated me to start my own company. How do you allow no one else to put their limitations on you?
Easy.